Let me ask you something honest. If someone told you right now, today, that you could retire with over $500,000 saved, without a six-figure salary, without a side hustle, without touching crypto or the stock market in any complicated way, would you believe them? Probably not. And honestly, that skepticism is healthy, because most of what you've heard about saving money is either too simple to be useful or too complicated to actually do. But here's what nobody talks about. The reason most people never reach financial stability, even people earning decent money, isn't because they don't earn enough. It's because they never figured out one specific number: $500 a month. Not 5,000, not 1,000, 500. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why that number matters, why most people quietly blow past it without realizing it, and what the long-term math actually looks like when you get it right. No motivation, no hype, just numbers, psychology, and a clearer picture of where you actually stand. Stay with me on this one. Before we get into the numbers, if you're new here, this channel is about understanding money the way it actually works, not the way social media pretends it does. If that sounds like something useful to you, hit subscribe. It's free and it helps more than you'd think. Now, let me introduce you to someone. His name is Jake. He's 27, lives in Chicago, works in marketing. Nothing glamorous, but a solid job. He earns about $58,000 a year before taxes. After federal and state taxes, Social Security, and health insurance deductions, Jake takes home roughly $3,700 a month, maybe $3,750 on a good month. Not bad, not rich, but workable. Now, let's walk through Jake's month. Rent, he shares a two-bedroom apartment with a roommate. His share is $1,100. Car payment, he bought a used Honda Civic 2 years ago, monthly payment with insurance $380. Student loans, still paying off his 4-year degree. That's $290 a month, and he has about 6 years left. Groceries, he tries to cook, realistically $320 between groceries and the meals he buys because he's tired after work. Utilities, subscriptions, phone, $210. And then there's the invisible category, the one Jake doesn't really track. Coffees, drinks with friends, a jacket he bought on sale, one weekend trip, 2 concerts, random Amazon orders. That category runs him about $400 a month. Add it up, $1,100 plus $380 plus $290 plus $320 plus $210 plus $400. That's $2,700 a month in spending. Jake has $3,750 coming in, so on paper, he should be saving about $1,050. But Jake isn't saving $1,050. He's barely saving $150. So where is the other $900 going? That's exactly what we're about to find out. Jake's situation isn't a mystery, and it isn't a personal failure. It's a system problem. Specifically, what economists call lifestyle creep, compounded by spending invisibility. Here's what that means in plain language. When Jake got his current job, he got a small raise from his last one, about $400 more per month. And what happened almost immediately? His spending adjusted upward to absorb that extra money. Not in one big purchase, in dozens of small ones.
A slightly nicer apartment, saying yes to more social invitations, upgrading his phone, adding one more streaming service. None of these things feel like financial mistakes. Each one feels completely justified in the moment. But here's the math that Jake isn't looking at. That $400 invisible spending category I mentioned? Let's be more precise. Studies on discretionary spending in American households consistently show that people underestimate their casual spending by 30 to 50%. Jake thinks he spends $400. The reality is closer to $600. That $200 gap, which doesn't feel like anything, is where his savings are disappearing. And this isn't about coffee. Please, stop blaming coffee. A $5 coffee every day for a year is about $1,800. That's real money, but it's not the core problem. The core problem is the accumulation of invisible decisions. A $14 meal instead of cooking, a $60 online impulse buy, a $30 delivery fee for something he could have picked up, a round of drinks that cost $45. None of these register as spending decisions. They register as just life. And when you add them up, every week, every month, they quietly devour the gap between what you earn and what you keep. This is not a moral failure. This is cognitive architecture. The human brain is genuinely not designed to track dozens of small transactions and feel their cumulative weight. We feel the $1,200 rent. We feel the $290 student loan. We do not feel the $600 of ambient spending because it never arrives in one moment. And this is why $500 a month is harder than it sounds. Not because people don't earn enough, because the money leaves quietly in pieces before the savings ever get a chance to happen. There's a concept in behavioral psychology called present bias. It simply means that human beings naturally assign more value to something available right now than the same thing available in the future. The pleasure of buying something today feels real and immediate. The benefit of having $500 saved 3 years from now feels abstract, almost theoretical. So when the moment arrives, when you've had a long week, when a friend texts you coming out tonight, when a sale pops up for something you've been looking at, the math doesn't show up. The emotional weight of the present moment wins every time.
This isn't weakness. This is how brains work for most of the population. But here's the thing about understanding this. Once you understand why you make the decision, you can change the structure of the decision, so you're not relying on willpower in that moment. Willpower is a terrible saving strategy. It depletes, it has bad days, it doesn't work on Friday nights. Structure, on the other hand, works even when you're tired, stressed, or happy and feeling generous with yourself. And that's exactly what financially aware people do differently. They don't try harder. They set things up so they don't have to try at all. Let's talk about what the difference actually looks like over time. Because this is where most personal finance content either gets lazy or gets dishonest. I want to be specific with you. Jake is 27. Let's say he manages to genuinely save $500 a month consistently, starting now. He puts it into a standard index fund, something boring, something broad. Historically, the S&P 500 has averaged about 7 to 8% annual returns after inflation over the long term. We'll use 7 to be conservative. $500 a month at 7% annual return. By age 37, 10 years from now, Jake has roughly $86,000. By age 47, 20 years, he's at roughly $261,000. By age 57, 30 years, he's sitting at approximately $567,000. $500,000 from $500 a month, from a $58,000 salary. Now let's look at what happens if Jake keeps doing what he's doing now, saving $150 a month. Same timeline, same 7%. By age 57, roughly $170,000. The difference between $500 a month and $150 a month, a gap of $350, compounds over 30 years into a difference of nearly $400,000. $400,000 from $350 a month. That's the cost of not finding the money. And here's the part that matters most. Jake's spending gap, that invisible $600 that's quietly leaking out, if he brought it down to $350, he would have his $500 a month immediately. Without a raise, without a second job, without changing his life in any dramatic or painful way. The money is already there. It's just leaving before he decides what to do with it. People who are genuinely good with money, not influencers, not finance gurus, just regular people who quietly build wealth over time. They don't budget in the way most people imagine. They don't sit down on Sunday night with a spreadsheet and assign every dollar to a category. Most of them tried that. Most of them stopped after 3 weeks. What they do instead is simpler, and it's rooted in one principle. Pay yourself first. Automate the decision, then live on what's left. Here's what that looks like in practice. On payday, the same day Jake's check hits, $500 moves automatically into a separate account, not a savings account he can easily transfer from, a brokerage account, or a high-yield savings account with a different bank, somewhere with 1 or 2 extra steps between him and the money. The money is gone before he feels it, and then he lives on $3,250 instead of $3,750.
Does he notice the difference? Initially, yes. For the first 2 or 3 months, it creates friction. He says no to things. He thinks twice before ordering delivery. But by month 4, his brain has recalibrated. $500 a month is now his number. That's what he works with. And studies consistently show that people adapt their spending to whatever baseline they perceive as their available income. This is the same psychology that caused the problem, lifestyle creep, but now it's working in his favor. The other thing financially aware people do is stop trying to track everything and start tracking only one number. Not every transaction, not every category, just the ending balance on their current account once a week on a fixed day. If that number is lower than it should be, they get curious. They look back. They find the pattern. That's it. That's the entire system for most people who actually maintain savings over decades. It's not complicated. It's just consistent. So let's come back to Jake for a moment. Jake isn't failing. He's just operating inside a system of lifestyle pressure, invisible spending, and present biased decision-making that is actively working against him. And the hard truth is, that system doesn't denounce itself. It doesn't feel like a problem until you check your bank account at the end of the month and wonder where it went. The $500 a month savings goal isn't a magic number. It's not a secret formula. It's a realistic, math-backed target that the average American or European salary can support if you stop letting the money leave first and asking questions later. The question isn't whether you can save $500 a month. For most people earning a median income in the US or Western Europe, the math says you can. The question is whether you'll design your financial life so that the $500 leaves first before the rest of the month decides where it goes. Because one version of Jake retires with $567,000 and choices. The other version looks up at 57, doing the math, wondering what happened to all those years of decent paychecks. Neither version requires being exceptional, just aware. If this video made you think differently about how you're handling your income right now, even slightly, then it did what I wanted it to do. If you want to see more content like this, honest, calm, built on real math, subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and I put out a new video every week. I'll see you in the next one.